Conservation and entrepreneurship, the book resounds with the core Angolian values of hard work, determination, and commitment. Boatman possesses a capacity to inspire the young, engage the academic, intrigue the philosopher, excite the historian, and catch leisurely readers hook, line, and sinker. Boatman, the first book in the Sandy Ground Tales series written by Avanella Griffith. Boatman is a compilation of two exciting and uniquely illustrated stories filled with creatively woven images and facts. From the shores of Sandy Ground and Willa, Boatman sails through the real-life motivational stories of David Carty and Garfield Richardson. Bathed in humor and pivoting around the themes of resilience, cultural preservation, and entrepreneurship, the book resounds with the core Angolian values of hard work, determination, and commitment. Boatman possesses a capacity to inspire the young, engage the academic, intrigue the philosopher, excite the historian, and catch leisurely readers hook, line, and sinker. Boatman, the first book in the Sandy Ground Tales series written by Avanella Griffith.
Good morning and welcome to Rebel Marines Yard. Chief Education Officer, Chief Executive Director of the Tourist Board, members of the school board, members of the press, friends all. Today is mainly about education and what good teachers can contribute. It's not about me. Today is really about teacher Avanella and what she has done to try and remind all of us, but particularly young students, about things that are important in our society today. So I have to tell you that when I cut my teeth at 16 years old, learning how to race an Angolian boat, racing boat, I raced with Avanella's late father, Andrew, who lived in Sandy Ground near the corner, and who was the father of Avanella and Andre, who is a long-standing and very valuable associate of Rebel Marine. So we learned boat racing together. And growing up in Sandy Ground, I didn't grow up in Sandy Ground, but at that age, I lived in Sandy Ground nearly every day. You can't escape the culture of boats and the sea. You just can't. Sandy Ground is a historic village when it comes to stories and history to do with boats. And this is not the time for that, but if you ever get me started, you'll be here all morning. But obviously, Avanella was profoundly influenced while she was a girl with Sandy Ground and Sandy Ground boats. Now, I just want to say that the reason Rebel Marine exists is simply because all of us associated with the company believe that Angola's heritage in the sea and in boats needs to be continued. And it should not be relegated to those of our forebears or forefathers who were great sailors and shipwrights of a different age. We believe that we should bring it into the 21st century. Different types of boats, different ways of building them, but still a service. And we all know that we still use boats every single day, whether it is to go and catch fish, get to St. Martin, or take our visitors on picnics to Prickly Pear if we don't go ourselves. So boats on an island will always be important. But what is more important is Avanella's desire as a teacher of excellence. And she has that record, and I hope she continues it, to share that story with our children. The story of Anguilla is a long and interesting one. It's much, much more than the revolution. On Sunday, I had a Zoom call with people in England who wanted to know, Anguillians in England, who wanted to know about Anguilla's history. And I started off my talk by telling them that there in England, they can drive down to a place called Kew Gardens that has all the records of the British Empire going way back to 1600. I told them that I had been there doing research on Anguilla, and I came across a little drawing done by some visitor to Anguilla way back in, I think it was 1812. And there was a drawing of Anguilla, and underneath it was the caption, "An island with an uninteresting history." Well, if he were alive today, I might give him a clout. But the point is, Anguilla, the point I was making on my talk on Sunday, that Anguilla has had a very unique history that has been so different from all the rest of the other islands, and it is primarily because of our poverty at that time, and that poverty created a desperate need for boats. And that is why, if you turn the clock back, you will find that so many of our forebears were sailors, fishermen, boat builders, shipwrights, riggers. In those days, it was more than just building boats. It was sewing sails, making shrouds, doing all the things that was necessary to keep body and soul together on a very small and very poor island. So I want you all to appreciate what Avanella has done. She has put her heart and soul into this. She has a very, very talented family. She has a bunch of supporters who seem to be an army who come out of nowhere to help her get all these things done. And I really think her work, if it continues and inspires others, we can tell even more stories about Anguilla and what Anguilla is all about, and the things that have influenced our culture, both positive and negative, over the years. So thanks again for coming. And if you come back 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock we'll have some crazy stories that might make you scratch your head and think again. And they will all surround people in Sandy Ground and others going way back a couple of hundred years. Thank you very much for coming.
Good morning. My name is Avern Gums, and I take the pleasure of being your chair for today. And at this time, I would like to call on Ms. Shermel Archibald, who will be playing the national anthem. Can we please stand? And at this time, we will welcome the Anguilla National Male Chorus to do the national song.
as she stands midst the sea, O land of the happy, a haven will make thee. All lives and love we give unto thee. With heart and soul we'll build a nation proud, strong, and free. We love her, hold her dear to our hearts for eternity. Let truth and right our banner be. We'll march ever on. Let truth and right our banner be. We'll march ever on.
We will now call on Pastor Jerome Harrigan to give the opening prayer.
That national song of Anguilla and the voices sound so Anguillian. Wonderful. Good morning, everyone. Let's bow our heads as we look to the Lord in prayer. Father, Lord, we thank you for your rich love towards us. We thank you because you have bought us and you have, Lord, paid the price for our redemption. We thank you for everything that you have done for us. We thank you, Lord, for the opportunity that we could arise this Wednesday morning and come to this special place in Anguilla and to celebrate with those who have achieved and continue to excel. We thank you, Lord, for the blessing of Rebel Marine and Sanderground and Sister Avanella, who have availed herself to write down things that will interest us, will capture our attention, and Father, that will bring glory to you, I believe, through the words that have been written. We pray, God, that these proceedings here today will be indeed blessed. And dear Father, that your Holy Spirit will mediate everything that goes forward. We pray, Father, that we'll have a good time of reflection and fellowship together as an Anguillian family. In Jesus' name, we give you the thanks and we give you the praise. Amen and amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. A warm and happy welcome to all this morning. Thank you all so very much for taking the time out of this busy weekday to come and spend some time with us this morning. This is a very momentous occasion because this is a project that I know my mom, Avanella, has been working on for a very long time and has been catering to the details and the intentionality of how she wants it done, when she wants it done, and the manner in which she wants to present it. So I'm very happy that we are here today to enjoy, to experience, and also to share in the memory of this occasion. At this time, we will now call on Mr. Kamal and Company. Is Kamal ready? And Kamal will bring us a instrumental of Baby Don't Worry. That was fantastic. I love the sound of steel pan music, and if I can listen to it all day, I would. At this time, we would like to make a presentation to our Minister of Education, Ms. Deanne Kentish Rogers, and she will give us brief remarks after her presentation. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. I just want to start by saying a really good morning, and that when it comes to being the queen of brief remarks, I think I'll wear that crown forever. It really is a pleasure to be here at the official launch of Sandy Ground Tales by Avanella Griffith. I think it's a momentous occasion in our history and in our current life to have such a wonderful lady, an author, a scribe, to memorialize parts of our culture that can be passed on from now into the future. And it reminded me of a Audre Lorde quote. Every time I see Avanella, and this is before when we used to go to school, because she's teacher Avanella to me. And I saw her passion for literature, the same way I used to see passion for literature in my previous French teacher, Miss Rita Carty. And she said, for those of us who write, it is necessary to scrutinize not only the truth of what we speak, but the truth of that language by which we speak it. All writers have periods when they stop writing, when they cannot write. And this is always painful and terrible, because writing is like breathing. And I will say that upon looking through Sandy Ground Tales, you can tell that spirit of breath in the book. It felt like a living, breathing organism. And to me, that was one of the most beautiful things about the book. And something that I would love to encourage and entrench in the education system in Anguilla. And I know that for those of us in education, we see this book as an opportunity to lend to our historical literature and to ones that our young people can continue to feel a sense of identity through. And this is, for me, one of my pet projects, one of the things that I first came into office and I said I would really love to see. And they said something's already in the wind, and I didn't know what it was entirely. But upon hearing about Avanella's book, I became more excited, because each opportunity and each piece of literature that's produced by local Anguillan authors is a check mark next to Anguilla's name, not just for education, but for tourism, as Stacy would know. Because what people fall in love with when they come to Anguilla isn't just our pretty beaches, it's our people, it's the stories. And these stories are part of the quilt that makes up who we are as Anguillians. So for me, this is a very emotional moment almost, because I see the author, I see Sandy Ground, I can understand the tales. There's some sense of belongership for me, even though I'm not a resident of Sandy Ground. It is still a part of myself as an Anguillian. And that is something that I'm really happy for, and I really want to congratulate Teacher Avanella for this momentous occasion. So on behalf of myself and the ministry, the Department of Education, we would like to say congratulations, and more than congratulations, thank you.
Thank you, Minister. At this time, we will call the Martin Brothers, who will sing for us, I Say A.
No, no. Just bring that close to the guitar. Okay. Yeah, I'm singing too. Good morning. Well, most of the songs been dominated by the men, so it's time we bring in a lady. So we'll call her the Martin sister. Because they're the Martin men. All right.
I say
I say
I say
I say
N-G,
N-G-U, N-G-U-I-L-L-A, Anguilla.
I say I say
I-L-O, I-L-O-V-Y-O-U, I love you. Anguilla, you mean everything to me. You are my tropical paradise. Believe me, I will never want to be away from your sand and your deep blue sea.
I say
I say I say I say N-G-U-I-L-L-A, Anguilla.
I say
I say I-L-O, I-L-O-V-Y-O-U, I love you. Anguilla, you mean everything to me. You are my tropical paradise. Believe me, I will never want to be away from your sand and your deep blue sea.
I say
I say N-G-U-I-L-L-A, Anguilla.
I say
I say I-L-O-V-Y-O-U, I love you. Love you, love you, Anguilla.
That was beautiful. At this time, let us please welcome the Director of Tourism, the CEO of, yes, but he was having a conversation. I would like to welcome the Director of Tourism to come please and receive her award and give brief remarks. So within the book, the bags for the tourism department, they have over 20 books, both hard and soft copy books, and they have been one of our biggest supporters in terms of getting the books off the ground and getting it into your hands. So we'd just like to say a very, very, very big thank you for your support.
Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing? A little quiet. I want to say congratulations to Teacher Avanello, and congratulations all also to Avern. You've done a fantastic job here with the event and the launch, and keeping us excited every step of the way, so thank you. When I read Sandy Ground Tales, our slogan, Beyond Extraordinary, came to mind. I thought about what that meant, not only in the sense of how it defines our island and our offerings, but what it meant culturally. Anguilla is beyond extraordinary because we have a rich culture and heritage. In 2020, in spite of the pandemic, Anguilla saw over 25,000 visitors. Why? Because of our people. Not because of our beaches, not because of our luxury accommodations, our people. Sure, safety also played a role. However, polls have shown that when visitors are asked why they continue to visit Anguilla for the past 10, 20, 30 years, the response is always the people. The pride we take in our island, our resilience, determination, hard work, and commitment is the ultimate embodiment of what it means to be Anguillian. To have a tourism product in the form of this book that visitors can have access to learn more about our culture is absolutely remarkable. Thank you, Teacher Avanello. It is needed because what sets us apart from other destinations is our culture. And what we need is to share that every chance we get. This series pays tribute to not only a great boat builder, but a true historian in the person of Mr. David Carty, and a dedicated, determined, and committed entrepreneur, Mr. Garfield Richardson. Both have given much to tourism, and I join Ms. Griffith in celebrating their achievements and how they continue to seamlessly or selflessly contribute to our mainstay. This series weaves together themes of resilience, cultural preservation, and entrepreneurship while honoring the Anguilla spirit. Thank you, Ms. Griffith, for reminding us that dreams can come true, but there's a secret. They are realized through the magic of persistence, determination, commitment, passion, focus, and hard work. They happen one step at a time, manifested over years, not weeks. Thank you for giving us a tourism product that further celebrates our beyond extraordinary Anguilla. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. At this time, we will now call on Mr. Mark Rumney. I am very, 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 very sorry. We will call on Mr. Rumney, Bren Rumney, to come and collect the Department of Education's presentation.
I want to say this before I forget, because there's so many things to be said. The Anguilla Tourist Board is also a proud sponsor of today's event, and they have sponsored some of our expenses. We want to give them a thank you. Can you put your hands together for them, please? They were the first organization to pay cash. They beat you. Okay? You were the first to order. They were the first to pay. So on behalf of Sandy Ground Tales team, thank you very much for believing in us. And everybody needs somebody to believe in them. Thank you. Now to Mr. Romney, and always a supporter, always a supporter. And I went to him with the idea, and he said, sure. And Department of Education is the biggest, see, that's better than first. Yeah, that's better. Department of Education is so far the biggest purchaser. They have purchased over 200 books, and we're looking forward to more. And so I really do want to take this time before I forget to properly say thank you. This is not the 200 books. We couldn't bring them, okay? So they will get them privately. Thank you, Mr. Romney, so much. Thank you. I think he might need.
Oh, that's a relief. It's important to wear a mask nonetheless, but it's good for a few moments to take it off. Let me adopt the protocol already established and let Avon know, Avon, correct? Yeah, know that there are a number of names I go by. I accept Brent Davis. I also accept Mark Rumley, Paul Rumley. Okay, so you are okay. Don't worry. That's why I was not bothered. Okay, all family members. Okay. I want to say how delighted I am to join you all here this morning for the official launch of Sanderground Tales, Boatmen, by the only person that could have penned it. That deserves a round of applause. She's a veteran educator, and I don't need to say that to anyone present at some point. Those of you that are a bit older than her, you know her as an educator, and as Mr. Carty rightly said, an excellent one at that. But Miss Griffith is a different type of educator. For many of us, being in academia, we put so much into it that we try to conserve as much of our personal time to ourselves. I have no knowledge of how Avanella manages her personal time, but one thing is true. It goes to church, community, family, and this is just from what I've observed over the years. So when I say a veteran educator, she's an educator with built from a different fabric entirely. And that's not unique of her, because we have had other educators that took similar paths in the past. So I want to commend her. She's also a visionary. I've had the opportunity to work with her on numerous projects over the years. First, while I was at the Department of Youth and Culture as director there, and now at the Department of Education. Avanella always calls with a vision and an idea for an initiative. What do you think? And she always goes with what do you think. Let's understand this. It's fully conceptualized. The vision is very well packaged, right? There's no room for amendments. But what do you think is usually the approach. But one of the things I've learned to appreciate about all her ideas is that for anyone not to embrace and support, you're going to be on the outside looking in and saying, I wish I did. Because she sees everything through to completion, and the end state is always an outcome that not benefits Avanella, but benefits the Anguillan community as a whole. So, to recap, she's a veteran educator, yes, and she's still an educator, a visionary, an accomplished innovator, an events expert, and I'll say more about that, a culture bearer, and at heart, an Anguillan champion. There are few forwards on WhatsApp that I appreciate. There are few. Every time I see a forward on WhatsApp, I go, oh no. But when one comes from Avanella, it's always a gentle reminder of what we have to appreciate in life and what we have to appreciate about this country. You will never be blocked on my WhatsApp, please. Never. She's a culture bearer, and I mentioned at heart, an Anguillan champion. Please join me in giving her a standing round of applause for a career that is phenomenal by any measure. And I'm not saying that because she's here. It is just the truth. It is just the truth. Teacher Avanella, the Department of Education and members of the teaching fraternity extend our profound congratulations to you on the launch of Sanderground Tales and the publication of the first book series. of the first book, in the series, Both Men. We at the Department of Education applaud your efforts as an educator, a middle manager at the Albina Lake Arch Comprehensive School, and we watch with pride as we observe the various community-based activities that you champion year after year. Irrespective to what you're doing, we see the zeal and passion of an educator at the forefront. You and many like you represent the best of the teaching profession, and you should take that at heart. You do. It is for this reason, among others, that we are pleased to partner with you on this initiative and join with you today as you launch this important series while highlighting and celebrating our shared maritime culture. In an event that only Teacher Avenella could have envisioned and executed. A day-long book launch. Whole day. Always operating outside the box. Teacher Avenella, today I think I can safely say that you have officially joined the ranks of educators like Mr. Carty, Dr. Linda Banks, Mrs. Patricia Adams, Mrs. Hyacinth Hughes, Mr. Lennox Vanterpool, and many others who pen numerous works to educate a public eager to see its story written in this manner. It is for this reason that the Department of Education also pre-ordered some 200 copies of the first book to ensure that schools across the education system can make it available to our students as part of the regular reading program and to support the National Social Studies curriculum. We encourage other educators to follow your example. The climate of support for authors is much better now than it used to be. I also applaud the Department of Youth and Culture, the Anguilla Tourist Board, for their ongoing efforts in this regard, and all other persons and entities that have contributed and supported this effort. Again, to the author, my colleague and friend, our congratulations and best wishes. We are eagerly awaiting the other books in the series. No pressure. We know you have a lot of other duties at ALHCS, and we want you to fulfill those duties, right? But as soon as you can. Okay? Good. Continue the good work, Teacher Avenella. Well done.
Thank you, Mr. Bren Rumney. At this time, I would like to call the representative from the Anguilla Public Library. Are you here? No? Melissa, thank you. Thank you. I have one more presentation to make, and that is to anyone that's here who's celebrating a birthday today. Is there anyone that's celebrating a birthday today? Is there anyone that's celebrating a birthday this week? No? How about next week? You are? Oh, wow. It's your birthday coming up next week? Awesome. Well, you can come and receive a free copy of Sandy Ground Tales Boatman. And last but not least, we would like to have our representative from the Belmont Capchaluca to come on up and take a picture for their books, which are not currently here, but we will definitely get them to you guys. Please
Please welcome Cap Chuluka in the person of Teacher Judine, not Teacher, Miss Judine. Cap Chuluka is the first private entity that purchased books, and can you please give them a hand, a big thank you. So we're going to get her books. All right. Come, Jadine, you have to say some remarks.
That's fine. Thank you, Teacher Avanella, and congratulations on your award-winning book. I'm putting it out in the atmosphere. I have known Teacher Avanella as a teacher over the years, and I've heard it reiterated this morning: passion, soul, heart, vibrance, spirited, and that's really what she embodies. I remember taking an accounting class with her. I know nothing about figures, and for a moment I thought, what am I doing here? I'm not going to figure this out. But she was so patient with me, and I passed, but I know it's because of her spirit of excellence and patience that made that happen. But I'm here to, of course, represent Cap Chuluka, and when we were presented with this opportunity, we could not deny it. We say thank you for giving us this, or inviting us to have this chance to place it on our shelves. We have so many visitors, and what Minister Kentish Rogers said, it's not just about our beautiful shorelines and our tranquility, but over and over you hear the rooms are beautiful, Mondays is beautiful, but the people, over every day it is the people. And so this book, I know, it shares our history, which also shapes our culture, and it gives us maybe a foot further in figuring out the secret sauce, to Anguilla, and it will definitely be a piece of the rock that our visitors can take away with them. So thank you and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh. Oh, and the tourism board as well as Cap Chuluka received nut and bafflin bags, which are products of Rebel Marine. So once you guys come inside, you can definitely get you a bag as a keepsake, a beach bag, your grocery bag, whatever you want to use it for. They're great for whatever. Pardon? The price is only $2. Yes, $2 US. They're on sale. Yes, they are on sale today. At this time, I would like to call Mr. Carty because he gave the welcome, the greeting, the opening remarks, his remarks, and I would like to give him his token of appreciation. Mr. Carty. And we also would like to present him with a painting which was completed by Miss Naveen Marishaw. She was one of our illustrators in the Sandy Ground Tales Boatman book as well.
And this painting is done from a picture of when Mr. Carty launched the Rebel. When he launched Rebel, the first boat that he built, you'll see it in the story. And do you notice his hair is black? So you know how many moons that was. You remember, right? And she did this picture, and we thought it would be a nice thank you. Because as Ms. Carla Harris said this yesterday evening, writing a book about yourself exposes you. And so you want to say thank you for letting us expose your life, your family's life, to the positivity of our country. And so we hope you like it. Yeah, love it. You have a space for it? Great. In here? All right, thank you very much, Mr. Kaji. Again, you're welcome.
And we also have a painting that was done by Carmel Gomes that was, let's see if we can get it. It was presented to Mr. Garfield Richardson last night. And this as well was a much older, the first gotcha that Garfield started the fleet with. So this was a very memorable moment for him as well. Built by Rebel, by the way. What year was this, Mr. Carty? He doesn't know. But at this time, we will move right along into our program as we come to an end. And we will call on Mrs. Rita Carty, who will be giving us an introduction to the speaker and remarks.
Good morning, all. Do you think our speaker, our author, needs any introduction after all you've heard this morning? I don't think so. She's well known to all of us. I'll add some few words, but I don't think I will be able to call it an introduction. But I'll start right away by saying commendations to you, Avanella. Of course, this is your vision, this is your dream, and right now you can say you did it. So 2 thumbs up to you. We have an official book review already presented by Miss Maris Edwards at the launch last evening. So what I'm doing are remarks, not an official review, but she did make it clear in her remarks yesterday that this book is a treasure, and I would just like to share 3 areas in which I find it a treasure, and you might hear echoes of what she said yesterday if you were there, or what other people have said today. And the first is the artistry of the book. Doesn't it look like a work of art? And we can see that it is associated with works of art, the texture of the illustrations. And for that, we have to commend the illustrators, Mrs. Marishaw and Mr. Gomes. They deserve a lot of applause for their contribution to the text, to the words that Ms. Griffith wrote. They really make a difference. And of course, Carmel is a budding author. Well, he could be. Yes, you never know. Artist, and Mrs. Marishaw is one well known to me. She helps me a lot, and I have been wearing Mrs. Marishaw. This is a piece that she made since the month of April, because we were looking at a lead into what we have at school called Heritage Fest. And she helps us with that as well. She's the head of the art department, the visual arts department at school. And this is one of her pieces, and I've been wearing that since April. And I'm happy to see her in print as well. So we are equally proud of the power with color of Mr. Gomes and Mrs. Marishaw. And to me, that sense of everybody contributing their talent and helping us to enjoy ourselves and celebrate ourselves is something that I would like to make note of, that extends beyond the book, but even goes into the events that were planned yesterday. We had the culinary arts on display. We had the musicians on display, as we did this morning. So everybody comes together and makes a contribution and makes us feel better about ourselves. And we have to commend Ms. Griffith for that as well. So give her that. Everything that is done is a contribution. So the artistry of the book is wonderful. And somebody mentioned it already this morning, the language in which the book is written. It is written in Anguillian, and it could have been written in no other language variety. That helps to preserve us and to actually solidify our identity, because when you are in print, that's when you really exist for the ages. Oral traditions, we are happy for them. Oral traditions are important. There's an immediate connection, but the print takes it to the next level. So commendations for writing in Anguilla. You can applaud Ms. Griffith again. And then the preservation of heritage, which again has been touted by many, and I'll choose 3 different little aspects. The first will be, of course, all the boat names that are hidden in here. Younger and older generations can bond over trying to pick out the names. And one of the activities, because the book also includes activities in true education spirit, is to find the boat names. But it doesn't say how many to find, so I think that you'll be looking and maybe finding long after the first initial exploration looking for that. So that preservation of heritage, because some of those boats are no longer sailing, is also important. And the landscape, the preservation. Sandy Ground will change, but it is already iconic in photographs. But here, in this rendition here on this cover, it looks so animated and ready to be a character in this narrative and to contribute to the plot as it unfolds. So it's a real character. So we are happy to have Sandy Ground preserved in this way and on the front cover. So we're grateful for that as well. And then, again, to echo others, the preservation of the spirit of Anguillians. This really does it. This really shows our determination. This shows our resilience. And put in this form, it can feed many generations to come and give them courage. So at this point, I'd like to call the author to address us, none other than Miss Avenella Griffith. She already had a standing ovation today. Give her another one, and I would like to commend her and commend the subjects of her work, Mr. David Carty and Mr. Garfield Richardson, for being such inspirational Anguillians.
This feels so real. This is never ever the intent. And I'm wondering if Mr. Romney was bribed by somebody to say all those things that you did say. I humbly say thank you. And Mrs. Carty, it definitely is about everybody coming together. It's never about one person doing everything. All of us have our gifts and talents, and we come together to make a whole, and that whole is usually so beautiful. As a good teacher, and as Mrs. Carty would expect me to do, my medium range talk to you today has 2 objectives. Well, one objective, the objective is I really want to give thanks to, in this setting, to the government of Anguilla for all it has done for me. In terms of an intended outcome, I really hope I can encourage somebody to become a teacher. I think as teachers, if we bring, as we go, we should be trying to bring one person in. I think that's a good goal. You know, like when we take up a tree, we should plant one back. I think that's what teachers should try to do. In 1989, leaving school at 16, I was without a job. And everybody else around me, this was like, yes, it was just hitting September going into October. I had a job, my friends. I thought I would have been happy without a job, but I wasn't. And so that week I decided, you know what, I'm going to pray and I'm going to fast. And a couple of days went in and nothing happened. And then the day before, I said, you know what, maybe I should just give thanks for this job as if I really have the job. And so I waited until everybody went to work, my mom, my sister, everybody was out of the house, and I kneeled down and I raised my hands and I said, God, I thank you for this job. I thank you for this job. And then there was this car horn outside, beep, beep, beep. And I said, you know what, that's Didi Mother Esme. And because, you know, everybody knew the sound of car horns. You knew the numbers, you know the cars, right? And it was a green charade, and I knew it. And I ran outside in my nightgown and busted the door, and I said, woman, what are you making? I was like, oops, sorry. And it was the lady who would deliver government stuff. And she put out her hand, she said, here, I got a job for you. Go to road school tomorrow morning. And that is how I began teaching, October 4th, 1989. And that's almost 32 years ago. And I know God gave me this job, And I know when it's time for me to leave, he will be the one who sets the terms as well. So I'm thankful to the government of Angola for that. I went to Rhodes School. I was placed in a class with 32 5-year-olds, and I survived. There's a love, there's a fulfillment in teaching children who come to you with nothing. And when you are gone in 2 months, 3 months, you can see them reading. That is one of the best feelings you can ever have. I was moved to West End School in that January 1990. West End School experience was my best whole school experience. Teacher Norma gave me the room to just fly. I mean, she gave me freedom like none other. And I had so many great experiences at West End. And then I moved, after West End, the government of Anguilla, well, let me back up. The government of Anguilla paid for my primary school education at Rhodes School. The government of Anguilla then, in conjunction with Canadian Training Awards Project, CTAP, anybody remember CTAP? Sent me to school in the Bahamas to do college. And so I'm ever grateful for them. I came back, and Mr. Romney, I was all expecting to go to high school, but that's okay. They said there was no space there at the time, but they'll send me to primary school. And so I say this to you. When somebody has grown up all their life in Blowing Point, Sandy Ground, gone to Rhodes School, and then you send them a letter telling them that they have to go teach Valley School, that's psychological trauma, Mr. Romney, which y'all don't understand. You have to do that kind of thing in a room with a counselor or a psychologist. I went through trauma. How in the world was I going to teach Valley? You know, not even the rivalry, it was war. I mean, what, Valley and Road? I had to, how would I do it? I had to really take hold of myself and say, you got to do the job, it's a job. And I went in there half-hearted, and then after, so please, Mr. Romney, anytime you're going to do that, like send teachers to different schools, find out where they went. And especially if it is Road and Valley, you got to work something out. You see what happened the last months? That was risky to be on the park. I mean, them know. But I went to Valley, and at Valley I had an awesome time. I forgot that I did go to Road, but Road is always in my heart. But Valley, I mean, I gave all, and we did put some licks in Valley in Road when I was at Valley. We did. At Valley, I had what I call the best class I have ever had. It was 24 students. 20 of them came from 2-parent homes, and 4 of them came from single-parent homes. And I didn't know that at first. It's only a couple of years after I realized it. And every morning, I would give them, for some reason I felt like with this class, I just want to give them a hug every morning and say, I love you. And one morning, I didn't think it was, making any difference. So I said, I'm just tired, I'll skip it this morning. And when I started teaching, the children were like, we don't get no hugs today? And I was like, ooh, okay. And we did that for a whole year. And I met those same students in Form 6 when I was moved to the high school, and it was a joy. Now, the year after I had that class in Valley, I had a class of 24 students. 21 of them were single-parent families, and the others were 2-parent families. Because they were so different, I wanted to find out what was the problem, because they were so much different in terms of behavior. And I want to say that having fathers, especially in a home, is important. And for those homes that don't have that father, there needs to be that father figure. And so there are a lot of men up here for this event, because I wanted to highlight how important men are in the lives of our Anguillian children. Anguillian fathers need to be there for their children. And if there's no paternal father, there needs to be that father figure. I can safely say that Mr. Cardi has been that to my brother in many different ways, and I'm very thankful for him. And I say that especially, I learned this lesson because with the first class I had, that had the majority of 2-parent homes, we were right by the office in the Valley School. For those of you who know Valley School, my class was right there. And often the children would have their parents come in. And this one boy never used to have his parent come in. They would bring lunch, they would do this, they bring their book, da-da-da. And one day, his father drove up into the yard, and and he saw his father, and his eyes lit up. He didn't live with his father. His eyes lit up, and he said, I said, Romel, were you? Didn't mean to sit in it. Okay, you didn't hear that. I said, where you going? And I said, yes, you can go. And he went outside, and I won't say exactly what happened, but the greeting wasn't warm, and it was in front of all the children. And my heart broke. And that was a boy who wanted to be loved and shown some, a nice greeting from his dad. And so today I want to encourage fathers, please be there for your children. They need you. And then afterwards, I got a letter saying, you have to go to the high school. And so I went to the high school, and they put me I walked into this room called Staff B, the best place on earth for me. I took over a desk for Mr. Samuel Daniel, Pastor Daniel, and he willingly gave it up. I taught 5 subjects in my first year, 5, history, literature, accounts, and some social studies even, no? Something. It was it has been that was since 1997 or 8, I believe, maybe 8, and it's been an awesome time. As a head of business department, I owe that to Mrs. Ethne Richardson, who recommended me. And then one day, Mrs. Lake called me into the office. You know, when the principal calling you into the office, that's not usually a good thing. I go in there, and she says, Avanella, are you interested in going to do your master's degree? And I'm like, no. Yes, you need to apply. And sometimes you have to hear beyond people themselves. And for me, I heard it as, I saw it as a green light from God. And I said, okay, I will. If the principal tells you to do something, usually you do it. And so a couple of days afterwards, she said, Avanella, you applied? I said, no, apply. And I went and I did it that same day. And the government of Anguilla again sponsored my education to go to England to do a year's course there. And I'm very thankful to the government of Anguilla. I came back and worked in the business department, and it has been great. Again, with Staff B, it's been an awesome place to grow. They have allowed me to be able to execute different things uniquely. And then, again, because of Mrs. Ethne Richardson, I got onto the board of governors. And that experience has been extremely rich for me. It has allowed me to see things from another perspective and to operate from another perspective as well. On that board, we had as our chair the late Reverend Wycherley Gums, and especially wanted his wife here and his son. And can we please just give them a hand? And we appreciate the work that he did at the board. I never knew him before I met him on the board. I heard about him, but I never met him. And then I think after our first board meeting, he was going on. He said, so where you from? And who you from? And then he went around and he realized I was from Sandy Ground. He said, huh? And then I said, Gwen is my mom. He said, huh? And I said, yeah. And then he said, how many children you have? I said, 2. He said, what, girl or boy? I said, 1 girl, 1 boy. He said, how old is a boy? I said, about 15, 16. He said, oh, And then it was a step, I was here, he went, this is by the old staff room, he stepped down, he said, I'll give you some advice to the boy. And he's walking, he says, speak softly, speak seldomly. And I said, what you said? And he was about that way, and he kept on walking, kept his head straight, and he said, speak softly, speak seldomly. Now at that time, you know how teenager boys can be? Carmel was just being a little bit like that. And I was, how am I going to deal with this? And I could hear in my head God saying, shut your mouth. Talk less. Shut your mouth. Talk less. So when Reverend Wycherley said it, speak softly, speak seldomly, I was like, okay, I hear you, God. Thank you. And that was my confirmation. And I passed that piece of advice on to all of us who have sons. Speak softly. Speak seldomly. Thank you. Now, we have come to this part where Mr. David Cartier heard his story, and I have brought him into my classes, and he has spoken several times so freely. And I tell him, and it's the truth, he's one of the few people I will pay money to speak. I mean, I've heard about people paying thousands of dollars to get a ticket to go to a ball for the United States presidents and so on. I'm not sure if I will do that. but definitely Mr. Carty. In having conversations with Garfield, he has allowed us to read his story now in this book. I want to thank them so much because it has been, it is definitely not about me, but it's all about Anguilla and just preserving what we have, and we have a lot, and a lot to be thankful for. And so, as I come down to the end of this, I want to say that many, many, many people from FLOW, Department of Youth and Culture, Department of Education, Anguilla Tourist Board, Rebel Marine and their crew, the guys, all up there. Can you just give them, Mr. Carty's associates, a hand for all the work that they do? Rebel Marine pushes out boats to Caribbean islands, to the North America, to Europe too. Any to Europe as yet? Not as yet, but I'm sure they have sailed up there. They have done great. And one of the things that are very similar as well between Rebel Marine and Gotcha is that I know that Mr. Carty has taken every tack, he has pulled every maneuver to try to keep his associates employed during the pandemic. And to keep men employed is extremely important because earning a living for men is, women too, but somehow, yes, I know women, yes, but men really does get upset when they're not working. Like a real man, that is, right, Mr. Brandon? Yes, yeah. They get grouchy. They get menopause or something when they're not working. And they have done that and helped to sustain their families that they are responsible for. To my mom, to my families, to friends, to the education department for being a main sponsor here today, for ATB, for everybody, for all of Anguilla, even friends I haven't seen, Martin, hi, friends in the US, across the Caribbean, they have done so much. To the publisher, and I failed to mention them last time, but the publisher, Divine Works Publishing, it has been an awesome time working this whole event together. Now, over here, we have lots of food over there. There are free drinks over there. You can go and get free drinks. But there's going to be conch. There's going to be Ethnie's fried cakes, of course, over there. And then there's this here. Banana bread, too, Avon reminded me. This here. Isn't this here beautiful? And can you believe this was closed up for almost 9 years since Armour? Not Irma, since Nothing Baffling was released. And here you can get Nothing Baffling DVDs. You can buy a boat. For those of you who can't swim, this is a safe boat for you. Yeah. There's a Waspite replica in here. There are actually 3. Ernest Connor is his name, Mr. Carty. Ernest Connor. Ernest Connor builds these things by hand. He has 3 of them. There's an actual Waspite replica in here. There's a trunk, a cabinet in here that's at least in the early 1900s, which belonged to Mr. David Carty's grandmother. There is a lot of stuff in here, and so we are inviting everybody. You can either go and get a drink first, come in here. There are tours on the hour at 12. 2 and 4, Mr. Carty is going to be sharing stories. In between that, I have my cousin. She's going to come out in a while, Mrs. Eileen Thompson. She's going to be sharing stories also intermittently about Sandy Ground. There's a Miss Aki story that she will be sharing. Mr. Carty's stories are going to begin at 12, and we're inviting you. If you're online, they're going to also be online, but you can come back and just sit down and there's going to be Nothing Baffling showing over in the tent over there all day. You can see that as well. And of course, there's going to be storybooks, boatmen inside as well. These very strong, very good looking bags. We have with Rebel Marine and we have with Nothing Baffling. Excellent for shopping. These are not going to get destroyed. And they're on sale today for $2 US. Anytime you buy something that belongs to Rebel Marine in the store today, you're going to get a chance to win a raffle, a ticket for a cake decorated by Mrs. Mary Richardson. Yes? And I don't know why I didn't say Richardson. Mrs. Mary Smith, the talented cake decorator, Mrs. Mary Smith. And so let me just say right now, if I've forgotten anybody, I want to say thank you to the whole team, to all the persons who worked night and day. If I've forgotten you, please chalk it up to my brain and not my heart. One thing I want to say before I go, the singing here was just awesome. I mean, it was just awesome. All the guys who sang, all the guys who played the music, it was really, really good. And I want to thank you very much for making it a very special day here today. So I will now pass over to Avern, and I guess let me just say this to the illustrators, Naveen and Carmel, couldn't have done it without you. The backbone, the thread of the book, thank you. Mrs. Carty, thank you for your editing excellence. And to all the investors in the book, all the purchasers of the book, I want to say thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mother. Okay, at this time, she has definitely taken over my role of giving the overview of the day. But there is nothing else that I can reiterate besides signing table. If you'd like to get your book signed after you purchase here, you can come over to the signing table over here. Tours will begin at that roller tree right over with the orange sign on it. And we want everyone to come in, take a look. Don't leave with your hands empty, because there's something here for all of us. So thank you once again for coming out to the Sandy Ground Tales Boatman Book Launch, and we hope that you will tell a friend to tell a friend. We are here until 6 p.m., so please, if you need lunch, if you need a snack, or if you just need a place to clear your head once you get back to work, we will be here. So thank you all so much, and I hope that you have a great remainder of your day. And you can come on in.
Core and Goodland values of hard work, determination, and commitment. Boatman possesses the capacity to inspire the young, engage the academic, intrigue the philosopher, excite the historian, and catch leisurely readers hook, line, and sinker. Boatman, the first book in the Sandy Ground Tales series written by Avanella Griffith. Boatman is a compilation of 2 exciting and uniquely illustrated stories filled with creatively woven images and facts. From the shores of Sandy Ground and Gwilla, Boatman sails through the real-life motivational stories of David Carty and Garfield Richardson. Bathed in humor and pivoting around the themes of resilience, cultural preservation, and entrepreneurship, the book resounds with the core and Goodland values of hard work, determination, and commitment. Boatman possesses the capacity to inspire the young, engage the academic, intrigue the philosopher, excite the historian, and catch leisurely readers hook, line, and sinker. Boatman, the first book in the Sandy Ground Tales series written by Avanella Griffith. Boatman is a compilation of 2 exciting and uniquely illustrated stories filled with creatively woven images and facts. From the shores of Sandy Ground and Gwilla, Boatman sails through the real-life motivational stories of David Carty and Garfield Richardson. Bathed in humor and pivoting around the themes of resilience, cultural preservation, and entrepreneurship, the book resounds with the core and Goodland values of hard work, determination, and commitment. Boatman possesses a capacity to inspire the young, engage the academic, intrigue the philosopher, excite the historian, and catch leisurely readers hook, line, and sinker. Boatman, the first book in the Sandy Ground Tales series written by Avanella Griffith. Boatman is a compilation of 2 exciting and uniquely illustrated stories filled with creatively woven images and facts. From the shores of Sandy Ground and Willa, Boatman sails through the real-life motivational stories of David Carty and Garfield Richardson. Bathed in humor and pivoting around the themes of resilience, cultural preservation, and entrepreneurship, the book resounds with the core Angolian values of hard work, determination, and commitment. Boatman possesses a capacity to inspire the young, engage the academic, intrigue the philosopher, excite the historian, and catch leisurely readers hook, line, and sinker. Boatman, the first book in the Sandy Ground Tales series written by Avanella Griffith. Boatman is a compilation of 2 exciting and uniquely illustrated stories filled with creatively woven images and facts. From the shores of Sandy Ground and Willa, Boatman sails through the real-life motivational stories of David Carty and Garfield Richardson. Bathed in humor and pivoting around the themes of resilience, cultural preservation, and entrepreneurship, the book resounds with the core Angolian values of hard work, determination, and commitment. Boatman possesses a capacity to inspire. Boatman, the first book in the Sandy Ground Tales series written by Avanella Griffith. Boatman is a compilation of 2 exciting and uniquely illustrated stories filled with creatively woven images and facts. From the shores of Sandy Ground and Willa, Boatman sails through the real-life motivational stories of David Carty and Garfield Richardson. Bathed in humor and pivoting around the themes of resilience, cultural preservation, and entrepreneurship, the book resounds.
Hello.